Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. I'm Jess with So Many Creations. In this video, we are going to talk about rivet presses, and more specifically, buying your first rivet press. What is a great place to start? What dies should you start with? And how do you know what to get? It can be so overwhelming. I will tell you right now, from the very beginning, I just overbought. I bought too many dies, too many things, and now I have a lot of things I don't use. So even though every bag maker's journey is different and what works for me might not work for you or vice versa, maybe you and I have different styles, it's good to have a good starting point. So I'm gonna go through, first of all, the two different styles of presses I have. This video is going to talk mostly about Kamsnaps. I have done a comparison video between the Kamsnaps press, which is right here, this big guy, and my Gold Star. I do like them both very much. I will explain in this video why I lean a little bit more towards Kamsnaps now. That comparison video was made a couple years ago, and I'll link that for you up here. So we are going to talk about tabletop presses, which is this big guy right here. We're also going to talk about handheld, see which one is going to work best for you. We're going to talk about dies and which dies you might want to use or purchase first. And we're also going to talk about prices. Now, please keep in mind, this video is being filmed in October of 2023. I am not sure when you're going to be watching this. I can't take any accountability for prices changing, and I have no affiliation with Kamsnaps. This is not a sponsored video. I'm just giving you my opinion and hopefully helping you, if you are ready to invest and buy yourself a press, help you to get what's going to work best for you. I know in the very beginning, I got myself super overwhelmed. I think more excited even than overwhelmed. And I just bought everything. I have dies that are still in the plastic bags that I've never even used. Why? Because I was so excited and just so anxious to get everything that I bought everything. And that is not the smartest way to spend your money. So I'm going to show you a few different things that I think are great places to start, and then some extras that you might want to add on to, whether that's right now or in the future. So if you like videos like this, don't forget to click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and give it a thumbs up. All right, let's get into rivet presses. So before we get into our video, I'm just going to say one more time, and that's it. I am not affiliated with Kamsnaps. I do not have any kind of affiliation code or anything like that. I purchased everything you see with my own money. This is not a sponsored video, and I do not have any issues with my Gold Star press. I'm talking specifically about Kamsnaps today because these are the ones that I tend to use the most. I have two of the tabletops. I have the handheld right here, and there's a couple of reasons why. I like their options. They have a lot of different options that Gold Star does not have. I think Gold Star, my press puts in rivets beautifully, but there are a few things that I'm gonna say are a little bit lacking as far as their selection. I also use a lot of snaps, like this style right here. I use a lot of those on wallets and small projects, and I really like the pricing and the selection that Kamsnaps offers. They have all the colors that match the hardware that I already sell. Snaps are not something that I carry on my website, so I do tend to lean in that direction. I like what they have. Also, again, it is 2023. I am going to list links for you for everything in the description of the video, but any pricing that I discuss, I am not accountable if prices do change. Unfortunately, that is something that happens, and I'm just letting you know price-wise more what to expect. So I don't anticipate that any of you would not understand that, but I just wanted to make it clear if you are watching this video in the future and the prices are totally different, it is because things have changed on that end. I have no control over that. So let's go ahead and start first and foremost with the tool itself. Which one is going to be best for you? The handheld right here or the tabletop? Now you might notice that my tabletop press is on a base right here. This did not come from Kamsnaps. This and my little magnetic tray right here, those are from hannahwoodworking.com. This is called a Becky Base, and this is the little glitter magnetic tray. These are additional items that you don't necessarily need, but I will say for me, they've made my life so much more organized. And I do travel and I take my presses with me for teaching. And in doing so, it's made it a lot better because there are very strong magnets underneath here that hold my dies. So even if it falls over, it doesn't fall off. So I'm not searching through the car looking for things or putting these in bins where they're kind of getting beat up. So I do like both of those. Again, totally optional. You don't need it to make this function. This is screwed into this just to give it a little bit more stability and organization. And for the video, I'm not gonna unscrew it because I've already done that twice because I painted my Kamsnap. That's something else to note. This is not a Kamsnap color. This started out the dark green that they offer, and I painted it myself. So now let's get into the tools. So I used this little handheld rivet press or snap setter, whatever you want to call it. Everyone calls them something different. I've always called these presses or rivet presses, even though they have other functions. So if you are looking at this, you might be confused in the video that I used it in. A lot of people thought that this was the plastic snap setter. Kamsnaps has a separate tool. It looks similar to this, and it is only for plastic snaps. It does not do anything else. It only sets plastic. This is not that. This is, as you can see right here, the KX8J. This is the handheld version of this. So this one right here, I'll kind of turn this for you. So that's what that one looks like. This does the same thing, just in a smaller version. So instead of pushing this down like that, this is very awkward to do, just so you know. You just squeeze it with your hand. So why would you want one over the other? Well, first, let's talk about space. What kind of space do you have? Do you have enough room in your sewing area to have something large like this? This one is also on the heavy side, which is fantastic because it holds itself in place really well. So when you're putting in a snap or a rivet and you're pressing down on here, sorry for the squeaking, this kind of stays in place for you and it works really nicely. If you don't have the room for it, this might not be the one for you. Or if you are someone that likes to travel, you have maybe a couple of different homes, maybe you're a snowbird, or you go to a lot of retreats and classes and you want to bring something with you, this is probably not the one that you're going to want to bring back and forth all the time. I hear it a lot from students. They buy these really fantastic sewing machines, but they don't want to take them out of their house because they're so heavy. I'm sure you can relate to that. I have a couple of machines myself that they are kind of a bear to get out of the studio. So this is going to be kind of the equivalent to that. This is going to be a heavy, a heavy piece of equipment to take back and forth. If you're just hanging out at your home studio and you don't go anywhere and you don't need to take this with you, then you're okay. So this right here might be a good option if you do a lot of traveling. It's also great because it doesn't take up as much space. You could put this right into a drawer if you didn't want to leave it out. There is also a version of this tool that has kind of an extension right here, and that allows you to screw that down to a desk or a base of some sort, so it kind of turns this into that. Now, when we get into prices for these two, I will tell you why these were kind of my options, and that one that's a different version of this was not for me. Now, I, again, do not mean anything negative about these products. I'm just telling you what works for me and what doesn't work for me. Just keep in mind that it might be different for you. I'm just kind of giving you my 2 cents on this. So for this one right here, I do have a lot of people ask me, is it hard to squeeze? Is it hard to use because I have dexterity issues or I have arthritis? And really, this works very nicely. This does not require a lot of strength. Yes, you are going to have to squeeze. So if that's an issue for you, this might be better because this you can use kind of flat. You can push that right down without having to squeeze. But this one is not hard to use at all, even when you have your dies in here and you're, putting in whatever item you're putting in. I prefer this one when I'm doing something small or I have a tight space I have to get into, because I can bring the tool to the bag, if that makes sense. I can take this, let's say I'm doing something to this wallet and it's just hard to get underneath. I can bring my tool to the wallet. Where with this one, I have to bring the bag or the tool, or excuse me, the purse to this piece right here. And sometimes that can be a little bit difficult depending on where you're putting in whatever hardware you're putting in. I was adding some rivets to a bag that was already finished. There was a handle that had broken. Rivets were the best way to reinforce it because sewing it was just not gonna work. Trying to get it underneath here was rather difficult, but I had this one and it was easy to just kind of squeeze it right in where I needed it and add a rivet. So as far as your pricing is concerned, this handheld right here is going to run you about $30, somewhere in that neighborhood. I did notice when I looked the other day that there was also a $10 off coupon. So if we're looking $20 to $30, not bad for a tool. That's gonna be your price range right here. This one in green, now they do have two colors and we'll talk about that. They have green, which is a much darker green. I have this nice teal that I painted. The green one with the adapter is gonna run you about $75. So what is the adapter? It's this piece right here. You can see this metal piece. This does not come standard with the tool. This does not come in the press. You have to make sure that you are ordering it. You can order them together or you can order that separately. But when you're buying your tabletop press, you're going to want the one that says the tabletop press as well as the adapter. Here's one other thing to note about Kamsnaps if you've never dealt with them. The woman, Judy, who runs Kamsnaps, she is unbelievable with customer service. And if you tried to order this without an adapter, she will not let your order go through. She will make sure that you have that adapter. She will send you an email and you will have a conversation about that. So what exactly is the adapter? It is literally the thing that holds your bottom die in. One thing that I will never fully understand is why this isn't just a standard piece with this, why they do them separately, that I do not know. It's one of the very few things about Kamsnaps that kind of frustrates me because as a new, buyer, I might not know that. I didn't watch a video. I didn't know anything about that. So I knew that there was some kind of adapter. It is not permanently in here and it doesn't come standard with it unless you click the correct one. So I think it's a little bit strange, but I'm sure there's a reason. I just don't know what that reason is. So when you buy this piece, again, you're gonna spend about $75. This one's gonna be in the $20 to $30 range. If you want a pink one, you're gonna spend about $12 more for this piece right here, and it's not a great pink. So I'm just gonna say that right now. It's a very Pepto-Bismol kind of a pink. It's not finished. It's just like a very rough pink. So for the $12 extra, personally, I don't think it's worth it. I did buy a pink one. I also spray painted that one. But for me, I would rather spend the $12 on something else. I didn't really think it was worth it for the color that it was. So these are the two styles that I have. I have two of the tabletop and I have one of the handhelds. And I also have the plastic snap setter. It's a lot of S's in there. I have the plastic snap setter. It was gifted to me from a friend who for some reason had an extra one. I have used it and it's a great tool. However, I'm just gonna say this. If you're buying one of these, you don't need to also buy the plastic snap setter tool because you can get the dies and use it on either one of these. And we're gonna get into dies. I do have my dies here. I'm gonna show you the ones that I really like. And the only one that I found that it's a restriction on this one. This one, because it's small, there's one set of dies that you can't use on here, but if you're anything like me, you're probably not gonna care anyway, and I'll show you what those are. So we talked a little bit earlier about the version of this that has the extension that you can then screw into something. That one, price-wise, is going to run you about $61. So for me, I'm looking at $75 or $30. Instead of paying $61 for basically this that I'm gonna screw down anyway, I'd rather just get this one. So I have a few customers that have it. They really like that one because the footprint of it or the price of it, whatever it was, fit into their needs. Me personally, I'm gonna either go with the big one or I'm gonna go with the handheld. The handheld for me, I don't need it to be screwed to anything. I want this to be portable, so I'm not gonna spend the extra money on the one that has the extension. These are the two that I prefer. So now that we've looked at our tools here, let's start looking at the dies, and I'll walk you through what I think are the best places to start and good places to also add on. Not all of this has to be purchased all at once. You can always just get a tool and a die set, 1 or 2, start from there and add on. Think of your tool as your sewing machine and your die sets as different feet. As you get into different projects and you need to do different seam allowances, etc., you would use a different foot. So you would go ahead and purchase different dies as you go along. So I'm going to demo on this one right here because it's a little bit easier, but whatever I can do on here, I'm also going to do the same thing on this piece. So first of all, how do you put the dies in? When you look at your tools here, either one of them, the bottom is just open. The bottom just kind of drops in. The top die, there's threads in here. So it's kind of like a screw. You're just going to tighten it right in there. So I'm going to grab my set right here. This first die set is probably going to be a great place for most of you to start. This is going to be for rivets, specifically double cap rivets. And we'll talk about that in just a second. So I have my 2 pieces. You can see that one of them is just straight and one of them has threads. So I'm going to go ahead and put the threaded one in first. And when I tighten this, I'm going to stop as soon as it stops turning. I don't want to go really, really tight. I like to leave it a little bit loose. The reason is the first time I ever put one in, I thought I should go really, really tight, screw it in as hard as I can and give it a good twist. And then as I kept using it, I couldn't get it out. It was stuck in there so good that it was really hard for me. And I had to go get my husband to get it out for me, which just made me feel defeated. So you don't have to screw this in so that it stays in for the rest of your life. Screw it in. When it stops turning, leave it. This piece right here, that just drops right in. And that's it. So be careful if you're traveling with this. If you shake it around too much, this one can fall right out. So you just want to be careful with your dies because those are kind of expensive. We're going to talk about the prices of each of these as well. So now I have my rivet press, my little handheld tool all set up so that I can use my rivets. So when we're talking about rivets, just really quickly, I use double cap rivets. Those I would say are one of the most popular that you will see on bag making websites, and they're going to be the most useful because you have a post that has a cap, and then you have the separate cap. So when you put this in your project, it doesn't matter which side shows, it doesn't have a front or a back, you have both sides that look the same. And why do you need a die set when your rivets will snap together? Well, because they snap together like this to get to the press, but the press and that die set is compressing that together and it's pushing your post into the cap so that it doesn't come apart. This I can still pop apart, just like that. So that's why we use a die. So that right there, that's my little double cap rivet. I use 8mm. So I have the 8mm die set. And when it comes to sizes of rivets, I know this is not why we're here, but just to kind of give you a little information. The 8mm, there's usually 2 measurements on rivets. There's these right here are 8mm by 8mm. That means that this across is 8mm, and it means the post is 8mm. If you change the post size, you don't have to change the die size. If you change the cap size, you're going to want to change the die size. And there is some wiggle room. A friend of mine says that she uses the same rivet die for every size rivet she has, and that is totally up to you. If you're going smaller, they're going to fit nicely in here. If you're going bigger, you might have some issues where you get marks and those little kind of divots on your rivets. So you just want to be kind of careful with that. So when you're talking about the cap size, that is what's going to fit in here. And you can see that fits. Of course, I can't really hold that sideways, but when I put that in there, it's nice and tight and snug, and that means I'm going to get a really good connection when I squeeze this together. So that is the rivet. That is going to be a really, really great place for you to start. However, when you're putting in rivets, you're also going to need to punch a hole. These don't have points of any kind, so you're going to need to punch a hole in your project. So you can get a separate handheld punch if you would like. There's a bunch of them out there. I have a couple myself. But if you want to just have everything all in one, you can also get the punch set. So this right here, this is the 2.5mm punch. This one right here is my favorite size. I use it for pretty much everything. It punches really nicely. It's the perfect size for my rivets because you don't want too large of a hole. And it works really for snaps or pretty much everything else that I do, which when it comes to making holes is not a lot. It's usually rivets or snaps, but this is a great size. And this right here, this is your base. So this is what you're going to use to punch with this. Now, the great thing about Kamsnaps, they have a couple of different options. They have a whole set of dies that will cut various size holes, so you can buy an entire selection. I'm pretty sure it has 4 or 5 sizes. I'm not 100% sure though. Or you can just buy the ones that you want. Now for me, in the beginning, I bought the whole set. I got all the sizes. I don't use any of them. I have only used the 2.5. So for me, that was being a little bit wasteful. If I went back to the beginning, I would buy the bottom and I would buy the 2.5 and call it a day. I don't need all the rest of those. So this is gonna work the same exact way. We're gonna take this out. We're going to screw in the top part. So on this set, the top is always going to be the punch. The bottom is going to be the base here. And get that in there. It sounds like it's snapping in place. It's not, it's just hitting the top here. So just so you know that this does not snap in, it just slides in. So there's my 2 pieces. Now I can make a hole. One of the other things I really like about Kamsnap as compared to others, this will cut through a single layer. So if I just have 1 piece of cork, it will cut through it. Sometimes with my handheld punches, I have to have at least 2 layers to get a clean punch. I do not understand why, but for whatever reason, this one is okay with a single or multiple layers, and it punches really nicely. So let's say that I now need to punch something larger. I can just take out my top and I can put in one of my larger punches and screw that right in here. I can keep the same base, the same bottom part, if I can get it in there. I'm all thumbs today. And now I can use this and punch a larger hole. So that's one of the things I really do like about Kamsnaps. I can just buy 1 bottom and whatever size tops I want for whatever project I'm working on. So this right here would be my second set of dies that I would invest in. If I was investing from the beginning and I wanted to just do rivets, I would pick out a tool. I would get my punch set right here and I would get my rivet set and I'd be good for a while. I could call it a day after that. So let's look at the prices of those just to kind of give you an idea. This 8mm double cap set, so you're getting 2 pieces, the top and the bottom, that one is going to run you about $30. So that might seem like a lot, but as I mentioned, the dies can get a little bit pricey. Most of them are in the $30 to $40 range. They can go a little up and a little bit down, but you're looking on average, you're gonna spend around $30 per die set. That's why I'd rather not invest in everything all at once and just get the things that I really need, the basics. So that's how much that one ran me. Now the bottom here, as well as the top punch, if I was buying those separately, my top right here is about $14 and the bottom part right here is about $19. Together, I can buy that as a set and that's another $30. So now to put in rivets, I have invested $30 plus another $30, so that's $60 plus my tool. And yes, I am investing a lot more if I'm buying the $75 tabletop, but once I buy this, I'm done. I don't have to buy this again. I buy whatever punches I want or whatever dies I want, and I'm good to go. Now, when it comes to snaps, I'm still gonna use this same set right here, so I don't have to buy another one. I can just buy my snap die. So let's talk about snaps a little bit. All right, so let's talk about one of my favorite things to put in, and that is the snaps right here. I love these. I love the sound they make. I know, it's really strange, but putting in snaps is one of those super satisfying things that they look so professional and so machine done, I guess you can say. And so when I put one in, I'm like, well, that's pretty cool that I can do that myself. I have the tools too. So for me, I love the fashion snaps in size 20. Those are my favorite. I have a couple of bags of snaps right here. And again, this is kind of why I lean towards Kamsnaps, because I love their snaps. Their pricing is great. This bag of snaps, there's 50 sets in here. So I get 50 total projects. This is $10. That is pricing that I myself cannot compete with. And I know the quality is really good and the colors are good. Not everyone has the right coloring, and these match all of the hardware that I sell on my website. So if I am making a wallet and I'm adding my handmade tag in rainbow, and I'm adding my rivets and my D-rings, I can get a snap from Kamsnap that matches. Same goes for all the colors. So I kind of call it the classic 6. They have the silver, the gunmetal, the brass, they have gold, rainbow, and they have rose gold. The rainbow are the exception as far as pricing. Rainbow, for around $9, you get 15 pieces. But rainbow is typically more expensive anyway, and that doesn't bother me. It's very well made. So for the snaps, for the 4-piece set, because you do have to have 4 dies, you have your top part, which is going to give you your cap and your socket back here. Your other half is going to give you, well, you kind of can't see it. Let me see if I can get in here. Your post right there, and your little cowboy hat. I can never remember what this piece is called. The stud, I think, maybe. There's names for everything. But in order to put in the top and the bottom, you need 4 pieces. So this set right here, and I'll unscrew the other part, this is going to give you all 4 pieces. So you have your set right here. This is going to do the bottom part of the wallet, and this one right here is going to do the cap and the top part. This die set is around $40, which I know sounds a little bit pricey, but if you figure it's about $10 per die, and it's going to put in lots of snaps for you. Once you put in snaps, I think you'll kind of fall in love with them too. Again, you can do the snaps with the handheld or the tabletop, and I have every single color of these fashion snaps. I keep them around. They're great for the Sydney. This is a Jane. I put them on the Daybreak wallet. If you're making any kind of Keyfobs or anything else that you want removable. I even see people in the group using them on clothing, jackets, things like that. These are awesome snaps, and I really do like those. So because these snaps also require a hole, I'm going to use that same set right here. Now, if you are not getting into snaps, if you are not doing any kind of snaps right now, don't buy the die set. Hold off on it. You don't need to buy a $40 die set and a bunch of snaps if that's not something that you're into. But that, aside from rivets, that's probably the second most popular thing that I put in using one of my tools. So rivets and holes, and then also snaps. Those are the things that I really like to put in. Let's take a look now at some of the extras. And again, these are going to be kind of a per project thing or also a per person thing. Some of these dies might not be something that applies to you. So let's look at some of my other favorites. So one of the dies that I absolutely love, that I have found multiple uses for, that I really enjoy, is this one right here. This is the Keyfob die set. So this was made specifically for Keyfobs like this. So if you have done this style before, and it does not matter the size, these are 1.25 inches. You can do them a little smaller, a little bit bigger. You'll see that this is about the same width, a little tiny bit bigger. These sets right here make putting these on so easy. Sometimes it can be a little awkward because you feel like you need a third hand. You have to get the handle part in. You got to get this set up, get it all ready to go. But I find that this makes mine so much easier. I don't have to hammer them. I don't have to use special pliers. I really like this set. And this just goes in really simply. We screw the top in just like we did before. And again, you can also use this on the handheld. So I'm just going to put that in. And then I can also drop the bottom in. And what I do is I don't worry about how tight the top is. I kind of just like to get them lined up so it's going to work nicely. So I'll just kind of do that. And then I can use these press plates to put my Keyfobs on, but I can also use them for some other things. If you are setting grommets, snap together grommets, you can use them for those. I also was helping in a class with Nicole from Sonar, and she uses these really cool D-ring attachment pieces of hardware. I'm not sure exactly what she calls them, but you use a rivet to put them in, and you can use them flat, or you can put a D-ring in and fold them in half so that you get kind of a smaller footprint. Folding them can be really difficult, especially with just using your hands. So in class, we were using this set and it worked beautifully. So even though this is the Keyfob, I think they call it the Keyfob clamping set, I find that using these as a set of push plates can be used on a lot of different things. This set right here is about $40. Again, totally not necessary if you're not doing anything that requires that kind of pressure, anything snap together grommets, key fobs, anything like that. If that's not your thing, don't buy that die set. But if you are thinking that could help you, there's a lot of different uses for that. Now, I mentioned in the very beginning of the video that there was a die set that will not work in this. And let me show you what that is. It is this right here. It is this giant press plate. So why on earth did I buy these? That's a great question. We were in a virtual retreat and somebody had mentioned this little cutting set. Basically, it has different squares, ovals, rectangles, etc. that you can use to punch holes in differently shaped things for a Diva wallet or, I don't know, grommets, anything like that. But you need to put some pressure on them. So I bought these to try it out. You can put them into your tabletop set and they're great pushing plates. They're super, super heavy. These don't fit in there because it's just too big for the bottom here. Let me take this out. It doesn't fit. There's not enough depth here to get this in there. It just won't go down. So these just don't work. Now, these I will say are one of the purchases that, I'm not gonna say I regret it, but it was wasteful for me because I used them once in a demo and I've never gone back. I've never touched them again. They work great for certain projects, but not projects that I personally do. These are about $50 as well. So for me, I'm gonna save myself the $50 next time, maybe save you. I wouldn't buy these again. They're just not quite what I need. These, however, 100% I would buy them over and over again. So these push plates right here, the Keyfob clamping set, number one of my favorite things. I use it all the time. Now I had mentioned grommets, that I pushed my snap together grommets together with this. I also bought this top die right here. This is a 17mm top die, so I can use it with that bottom I already have. I can just buy the top. And this is great for cutting the holes on my grommets. On the grommets that I sell on my website, this is the perfect size. But if you need something large, this might also work for you. This cuts really nicely. It's a little on the sharp side, so be careful. This top die all by itself is $18. But if you're cutting a bunch of holes, if you're making drawstring bags or you're making things with grommets, this is a great tool for you. Again, get it when you need it. So in the description of this video, I will put all of the things we talked about today, all of the different items, the dies, the tools, and everything, so that you can make an informed decision. If you have any other questions, I'm happy to answer them, but if you want to talk to an expert, Judy at Kamsnaps is a terrific resource. You can send her an email directly and tell her what you're looking to do, and she can help you put something together that will help you out. She's very, very helpful, very quick to answer. So if you're still overwhelmed and you're not sure where to start, definitely ask for help. Reach out to somebody that can help you, whether it's myself or somebody directly at Kamsnaps. I hope that all of this information did not overwhelm you and it actually helped you to make an informed decision. If you like videos like this, don't forget to click subscribe, hit the notification bell, and give it a thumbs up. Thanks for watching.